Good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Jessica Blum here joining you in the 1011 Alert Center to talk about the forecast going into Friday. What will be a frigid forecast full of a lot of wind. Powerful winds already starting to sweep through portions of the state. We're going to get you ready for that, as well as the deep freeze we're really in for through this weekend. So, wanted to start out kind of similarly to how I started last night's live stream. We're starting to do this a little bit more regularly as I work these evening shifts to get you ready for the forecast for the following day, maybe get you to bed a little earlier, or if you can stay up. Brad, of course, will have the 10 o'clock newscast tonight and talk about more of these forecast details. But joining you here just after 8 o'clock, January 15th, the middle of the month, we are in the heart of winter, and we haven't seen, I was just talking with Danielle, we haven't seen the frigid cold last for very long this winter. We've been kind of spoiled with the warmer weather as of late. Apologies, I'm a little distracted too because the women's basketball game, was really, really close not too long ago. But the final comes down Michigan State 73, Nebraska 71. So a very, very close game in the closing seconds. Britt Prince was helping them lead that charge too with some last-second baskets, but as we talk about this forecast this evening, here are your peak wind gusts so far for the day today. Some of these out in western Nebraska, these peak winds have just happened as of this evening because we're expecting the dial on those stronger wind gusts to kind of turn up with time as we go throughout tonight and throughout the day tomorrow. The windiest of the next few will be tomorrow. Into Friday, we've got high wind alerts in place. I'll show you those in a second. As you look at current wind speeds, you'll see sustained winds right now in portions of western Nebraska are anywhere from about 20 miles an hour to 30 to 40 right now in Sydney. A north wind sustained at 40. I haven't even shown you the wind gust just yet. We're not feeling that just yet here in Lincoln. It's going to take some time for this front to make its way through the state. It's arriving in northeast Nebraska here within the last couple hours and will push through the state for everyone, likely by midnight. But those wind gusts are approaching 60 miles an hour at times for those in the Panhandle, 50 miles an hour at times for those up in Thedford. The latest wind gusts up to 47 miles per hour. I did just have, I think, a report come through. Yeah, there are some wind reports coming through of 50, 51 mile an hour wind gusts out in western Nebraska. So I'll start to see those wind gust reports come through when they're starting to get closer to 55, 60 miles an hour, and we're likely to see that happen several times overnight tonight and throughout the day tomorrow. This is going to be one of those wind events that last for several hours as I talk about the span of this evening through the day on Friday. So turning now to your high wind alerts that are in effect starting this evening through Friday evening. Much of central western Nebraska completely blanketed in that yellow color. They're in a high wind warning. The criteria is going to be met for the highest wind gust to meet anywhere from 55, 60, 65, maybe potentially up to 70 miles an hour in some of these areas, as we've already seen out in the Panhandle tonight, and it's just starting. That high wind warning will be in place again through Friday evening, January 16th. For us in eastern Nebraska, not everyone in the wind advisory, but everyone's going to experience a lot of wind. There's kind of some background information to be known as to why not everyone is in the wind advisory in eastern Nebraska, and namely just to our west, York, Seward. The reason you're not under a wind alert is because the criteria is likely not to be met for a high wind warning, but they no longer issue wind advisories anymore because a lot of those areas see a lot of wind throughout the year, and those type of advisories would be issued quite a bit. But it is going to be windy for everyone across the state throughout the day tomorrow. That's kind of the takeaway, even looking at these high wind alerts. Lincoln is within a wind advisory. Our wind gusts could be as high as 50, maybe 55 miles an hour through the day tomorrow. So not only are we talking about the wind, it is going to be feeling rather frigid for your Friday, and there is potential for snow showers across much of northern portions of central and eastern Nebraska throughout Friday. So as this front is bringing in this much colder air mass and a whole lot of wind, we talk about those strong winds. They could be gusting up to 50 miles an hour in Lincoln, up to 65, maybe 70 miles an hour out in western Nebraska, particularly the higher elevation. There will be falling temperatures throughout the day tomorrow. We'll actually see our high temperature on Friday closer to midnight tonight, when we'll be hanging around the upper 30s, and then those temperatures will settle and kind of remain pretty steady in the lower 30s throughout the day. But with those winds, we'll be feeling like the teens really all day long. And then that third point you see, we've got to mention snow squalls. We want you to be aware if you've got to drive at any point on Friday, snow squalls are a possibility, which would mean wind and snow combining to make mini blizzard conditions throughout the state during travel hours, really throughout Friday, from the morning to the afternoon to the evening time frame. Anyone that's seeing snowfall in these conditions of such high winds, it wouldn't take much to rapidly reduce visibility, create whiteout conditions, and treacherous travel conditions as well. So keep that in mind, stay weather aware, make the right decisions to kind of delay travel if you start to see the snow fall, because these conditions can change rather rapidly as we see the snow showers kind of come down and travel with the wind. I'll show you that here in a second with Skycast, but planning out your Friday with the hour-by-hour wind meteogram, the bar graph there that you see before you, we've got wind gusts of at least 40 miles an hour here in Lincoln starting as soon as tomorrow morning, lasting through the afternoon and not coming down until... And I say coming down, but coming down from 40, 50 miles an hour until tomorrow evening. And then we're still looking at blustery winds and rather gusty winds into early Saturday, and then throughout Saturday morning, windy, before coming down and really relaxing by Saturday late afternoon, if not Saturday night. So it's going to be quite some time. Again, I was telling everyone yesterday, this is kind of a weekend we're going to be sick of the wind by the time we get past this event. So showing you tonight through tomorrow morning, the front comes through, could see some high winds after that, but then really winds pick up for everyone over a more widespread area through tomorrow morning. Wind gusts as high as 40, 50, 60 miles an hour at this point, then maybe 60 to 70 out in the panhandle where you're starting to see some of those yellows creep in. Again, here in Lincoln, I think 45, 50 miles an hour certainly on the table, if not up to 55 miles an hour. Still blustery Friday night into Saturday. I'm tired of talking about it. You're probably tired of listening to me talk about the wind. It's going to be frigid. Friday, Saturday starting out, winds right now are starting to relax by 10 o'clock Saturday. And when we're seeing wind gusts in the teens, be very thankful for that. But then we may be looking at the winds coming back on Sunday. So it's a multi-day event, but really I'm focusing on Friday for now since that's the near future. But keep in mind, we'll be windy on Sunday as well, I believe. So as the front comes through, there is just a little moisture showing up behind it. So a little area of rain, maybe for the Tri-Cities, York, maybe Seward sees a little bit of this, and a few flakes flying. The air is rather dry out there, so a lot of this is not going to accumulate or mean much. And then we get into Friday, and beyond 6 a.m., snow showers are starting to move into northern, northeastern Nebraska, and across portions of eastern Nebraska as well. Really, everyone's dealing with this throughout the late morning hours, early afternoon. It doesn't look like a lot. Usually when we're showing Skycast, you'll see blue blanket a lot more of the state when we're talking about a snow event. But these are just streaks that are coming along with the motion of the wind that will make for a dangerous kind of sneaky setup, in meaning that snow squalls could be a possibility. And if you've heard me mention that and you're kind of still wondering what in the heck is that, it is a relatively new term. It's actually a warning that the National Weather Service will put out that sends a WIA alert to the affected area, or what I should say is the phones in the affected area, so that if you're driving, hopefully you hear it go off, similar to if you were in a tornado warning. A lot of us in Nebraska have experienced that. A snow squall warning will act the same way. It's in order to get you the information as fast as possible so you make the best possible decision in really pulling off the road, because it is whiteout conditions, again, that happen rather fast. Will not want to be caught out in that if you're needing to drive on Friday. I will say, too, with the direction of the wind, really it's those east to west roads that the wind and the snow is blowing across that'll be most affected. But it's going to take quite some time, I think, for this event to wrap up as we go into Friday evening, probably wrapping up 7, 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow night. And then still cold enough under this setup that even in a Saturday, I wouldn't be surprised if we squeeze out a few more flurries to start the day before maybe a little more sunshine's trying to poke through. But we're not talking about a lot of snow accumulating on the ground through this event. This is a dry type of snow event, so the wind's going to fracture a lot of the snowflakes as they fall, meaning it would take a lot to accumulate, and it'll be easy to blow around. Maybe north central Nebraska closer to an inch or so, but most of us are looking at a couple tenths, if that. And it's going to be hard to measure or tell what fell because of all this wind. Now going back to today was the nicest day of the next several, just because we had a warm front working its way through the state, and those that are seeing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts were closer to 60 degrees today for a high temperature. The warm front warmed central Nebraska into the middle and upper 50s. Lincoln, we did get to 46 degrees today, and we're still somewhat comfortable right now with temperatures still, last check they were in the 40s, but you'll check with me and see where they're at. We've slept. 38 degrees at 1011 Studio, 31 now at the airport with a north wind only at 3 miles per hour, but again, that's going to be changing with time tonight into tomorrow. Southeast Nebraska, your temperatures range from the 30s to the 40s. There you see, Seward's still at 40 degrees, so it's just the Lincoln Airport falling off a little bit more, but everyone else is pretty comfortably in the middle and upper 30s. Again, temperatures in the upper 30s are still even above average for this time of the year. We should be in the middle 30s for a high. Your evening temperatures are sitting there. As you look across the state, some are still in the upper 40s. North Platte, Ogallala at 47 degrees, 43 in McCook, 42 in Imperial. But it's not going to take very long for those high winds to come knocking, blowing through, and create a much more colder day, significantly colder day, really, for Friday. Your feels-like temperature, noticeable in some spots, especially in Alliance, down to 16 degrees with the high winds out that way. But behind this front, you do see the areas of precipitation. This is kind of what I wanted to show you live. This is a loop over the last 4 hours showing a little bit of rain, a little bit of snow, but again, the profile of the atmosphere is still rather dry, so a lot of this is going to have a hard time making it to the ground for anything meaningful. But don't be surprised if you see a few sprinkles, a few flakes, before some snow streaks come across north central, eastern Nebraska tomorrow. Low temperatures into Friday, falling into the 20s to around 30 degrees. Not warming up all that much at all. I think afternoon temperatures will be close to the freezing mark, but feeling much colder than that, tacking on the wind. So the full picture, as you look hour by hour for your Friday forecast, the orange is your actual temperature, the yellow is your feels-like temperature hour by hour, and so we're going to feel like the teens throughout the day, and then the single digits heading into tomorrow night. Low temperatures for Saturday in the single digits. We have not had a low temperature in the single digits for a month. You have to go back to December 14th when our low dropped down to 0. We're going to drop down to about 7 degrees Saturday morning. Again, still a blustery wind, so we'll likely feel anywhere from about 5 to 15 below. Your afternoon highs on Saturday. This is looking like the coldest high temperature of this season so far. When you're talking about an afternoon high, not even a wind chill, in the teens. A high of 14 on Lincoln. I'm already trying to rearrange some of my plans because I do not want to be outside any more than I have to be on Saturday. Just going to be rather cold to do much of anything. Car's probably not going to want to start as easily as it would earlier this week when it was warmer. You're looking at low temperatures Sunday in the teens for more of Nebraska, eastern and central Nebraska below 10, but still positive. But again, factoring in the wind, probably still going to have another day with sub-zero wind chills. Sunday does end up starting to warm. We try to get to 40 degrees in the afternoon. Try to get to 50 degrees in southwest Nebraska. Northeast Nebraska is going to stay a little bit colder. But then another system will sweep through with a front, not bring us a very meaningful chance at precipitation. I mean, you're seeing over the next 3 days the chance for precipitation peaking at 30% tomorrow with the snow showers. Saturday and Sunday, probably cold enough to see a few flakes, if anything. Sunday, not a great chance of much. Windy, 40. And then the front comes through and the cold air filters back in rather quickly. A high only of 24 degrees for MLK Day for maybe a longer weekend for some. And then we rebound next week with some more sunshine and temperatures in the upper 30s and lower 40s. So over the next 10 days, I wanted to show your wind chills. Again, bottoming out around 5 to 15 below Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning. And then we start to dig ourselves out, but we've been in this pattern of colder weekends. So you remember last weekend, temperatures dropped off a little bit. Now we're getting cold again this weekend. We look to get cold again, I think, next weekend as you see those temperatures and wind chills drop off again. Here's your forecast high temperatures, actual air temperatures over the next 10 days. Teens Saturday, I think teens will try to make a reappearance, if not lower 20s, by the end of next weekend. If not Saturday, too. So, yeah, I'm looking at Norfolk at 19 next Saturday. The nicest day next week looks to be Tuesday. 40, 50 to around 60 degrees. McCook up to 57 degrees. So I think we'll really exhale, I think, by that day. But it is going to get cold, and brace yourself for this weekend. I know I'm already starting to think about a trip probably to the store to get a bottle of heat to put in my gas tank. So that it is just winterized a little bit better when we're talking about low temperatures like this. There you see precipitation chances over the next 10 days. Not high confidence in really, again, a lot of moisture coming anytime soon. We just had that one interesting rain event last Friday that dropped 3/4 of an inch at the airport and an inch in some spots around Lincoln. That was really our month's worth of moisture in a day. But that doesn't help to see it all in one day. Our 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook is leaning toward above average precipitation in this time frame toward the end of the month, but also with colder temperatures, so maybe looking at some snow events. Too early to tell, kind of course, impact amounts, anything like that, but something to keep an eye on toward the end of the month. But again, your 7-day forecast takes you from the 16th through the 22nd of January. We are working our way slowly but surely through the first month of the year that sometimes feels like a long Monday. But MLK Day next Monday, we're going to get through this cold weekend. Sunday looks a little bit better, but still rather windy. A winter wind can certainly make for a chill in the air, things like that. But, of course, I appreciate everyone joining me live here this evening to talk about these latest forecast details. If you've got to travel, be safe tomorrow. Keep your phone charged in case there are any WIA alerts that come through for any snow squalls. We'll be, of course, keeping a very close eye on that throughout the morning, the afternoon, the evening. We'll have you covered here with the 1011 Severe Weather Center. Again, everyone, I hope you have a great evening. Stay warm through this weekend, and until next time.
1011 News is everywhere. Download our smart TV apps and follow us on social media at 1011 News.